Ця доля схинуть наші ворожихи, як роса на сонці. Запануєм і ми, браття, у своїй сторонці, душу й тіло ми положим за нашу свободу і покажем, що ми, браття, козацького роду.
This is a very, very hard topic for all of us to speak about. It doesn't matter if you came here a few years ago, a week ago, 100 years ago. It's still very, very emotional. We are very, very tired of seeing the false advertisement of what is happening and how much help we're getting and how much help we're not getting. Everything that's being donated, everyone's very thankful for, but one thing we could get a little bit more of is just first aid stuff, just to help the citizens that are fighting, not even the soldiers, the citizens that are dying every day. When this first started happening on February 23rd, I was just having a regular Thursday, and I came home with my friend, and all I see is my mom crying on the FaceTime with my grandma. And it's hard to watch, to see your hometown being bombed. Sorry. Knowing that your future kids will not see where you're from, and knowing that your family and your husband will never meet your family that's still in Ukraine. I'm very, very thankful for Rawlyk for doing this today, and I hope you guys understand how helpful it is to have all of you here and support us with all of your hearts and love and putting your time into this.
I was born and raised until I turned 12 years old in Sumy. It's the northeast part of Ukraine. Sumy and Sumy region was one of the first parts of Ukraine that got attacked by Russians on February 24th. But many Ukrainians stood strong and are still standing strong against Russian aggressors. Many of my classmates from Ukraine are either volunteering or fighting in the front lines against the Russian aggressors. It's Russians, and it's not just Putin, it's Russians who are killing peaceful civilians who are just trying to leave. They're destroying beautiful Ukrainian cities. But I know for sure that Ukraine will win, and we will rebuild all of the beautiful cities of Ukraine. But one thing that will never be able to bring back to life the people that died for Ukraine, for the freedom of Ukrainians and for Ukraine. And we will remember them forever. Slava Ukraini!
for coming here and joining us in supporting Ukraine. It's very important to see this solidarity and support, and you coming here is like you holding the hand of each Ukrainian and trying to show that you are here with us. So you know how we feel, like all Ukrainians around the world. It's like when one nation is trying to destroy another nation for centuries, and through famine, through starvation, through camps, through repressions, and now through this devastating war. And we Ukrainians, we resist. We always resisted. And I'm convinced that this time is going to be the last time that Russia is attacking Ukraine or any other country ever. Because with the help and solidarity of the world, I really hope that this will stop this aggression once and forever. And because watching news is nothing like, it's not happening far away. It's happening in our hearts. Those mass destructions, like they bombed the train station in Kramatorsk just a few days ago, where people were trying to evacuate, and they killed 50 civilians, including kids. Another 100 is injured, and it's happening every day. This is like it's been like before war and after war. And after war, it's like one long, very hard day. So I hope this all ends soon. And how one of and each of you can help through financial donations, preferably donations to volunteers or like organization like Come Back Alive, where you can do transfer like through your credit card, which is really easy. You can also drop up some food at Mist Express in Regina. It's a postal service. They deliver parcels free of charge to Ukraine. You can also host a Ukrainian. You can help Ukrainian to find a job. You can support Ukrainian here in learning language, in finding school for their kids, in maybe giving a free ride to a supermarket, or giving just the basic instructions how to move. And lots of Ukrainians are considering to move to Canada, but what's stopping some families is just not understanding the rules, like the provincial health insurance. We don't know if Ukrainians will be provided with this or not. Right now, we've been told that they haven't been provided. And can you imagine a family like with single mom with kids moving here with no money? Like, how can she afford to buy a private health insurance? It's unreal. So if someone will be able to let me know or Ray know maybe some updated news about the health insurance, or that I can let group. So there are lots of groups on social media of people who would like to move to Ukraine, to move from Ukraine to Canada, but lots of them are hesitating, and lots of them, they don't understand where to start with. So any help will be appreciated. And so where I'm from the central town of Uman. It's right in center of Ukraine. It's been bombed on February 24th, but since then it's been safe. Like, how can it be safe? There's no safe place in Ukraine right now. And until Russia is stopped, I can say that there is no safe place anywhere in the world, because we all feel threatened. All our human rights feel threatened. So I appreciate all your support, and I would like to thank Ray for what he did here to organize this event, this Ukrainian rally, and thank you.
People across the border put themselves into the hands of the Polish people and even beyond, and they began to travel and find places to live, leaving their husbands behind, leaving their houses and other family behind. And I simply went there to help as I could. I found a church in Warsaw that's been sending all kinds of food and aid into Ukraine. They connected with their churches that were inside of Ukraine as well. Many pastors and deacons and church members, they volunteered their vans, and they would drive to Kharkiv, to Sumy, to Chernihiv, even into Mariupol when they could, when things were open. And there's a network of about 300 vans, and they've been delivering all kinds of things. And so our church, we did a fundraiser. We raised about $60,000, and we bought a bunch of food, and we've been helping also some other some people around the country. And when I was there, I thought, you know, I need to go help these people that are coming off these trains. So I went to the train station, and the very first person that I helped, she thought that I was a trafficker. I didn't have a vest on, like a yellow volunteer vest. I just saw her crying. I went up and I sat down, and I tried to encourage her. I tried to help her. And they have the fear of Russia, but they have the fear of traffickers in Europe as well. And I had to register, get a vest, and then people started to trust me, and I would tell them that my wife is Ukrainian, and I have family still in Ukraine, and then they would open up, and they began to share their stories with me. They would talk with me, and I was fascinated that many of the people, they told me that the mortar was scary, the missiles were scary, but the jets were the scariest. The jets flying over their houses, and they didn't know where they dropped the bomb and if it was going to land after the jet passed by. And listening to them and hearing their stories about the things that they were afraid of and how it affected them and how their houses were destroyed. I was talking to one lady. She was there with her mother, 3 children, and she was Googling what Spain is like, because she knew that Poland was full and she had to go further and go to Spain. And she was Googling pictures and asking me, are the people there nice? What's it even like there? She hadn't showered in 3 days, and she was tired and living in this refugee center, 5,000 beds, no showers. And I'm trying to encourage her and say, trust the people. The people there will accept you. They will love you. They will take care of you. And she was facing a 30-hour bus ride to people she's never met, to a country she's never been to. It was heartbreaking. I cried with the people. I hugged the people, and I heard many stories. I shared a lot of them on Facebook. You can read them there. But please continue to follow the news. Be aware of everything that's going on. Learn about the cities. Hear the stories. If you come across a Ukrainian, listen. Just listen to them. Let them share, and be an encouragement to them. And I want to finish with one story. I found a little time, and I had some lunch. I was working in the refugee tent, and I sat down by myself to have a little peace and quiet. And another volunteer sat down right beside me. This beautiful young lady, and she started talking. How are you doing? How's it going? And she spoke really, really good English, almost perfect. And I was having difficulty figuring out what country she might have been from. And it turns out she was from Western Ukraine, and she had been living in Poland for 8 years with her husband and 3-year-old child. And I said, well, so what are your plans, moving forward? What are you going to do? She said, we considered Canada and US before, but now we are only moving to one place. We're moving back to Ukraine. We're going back to our country. That's our land. And it is what we are determined to do. And as she was talking and telling me this, another lady at the end of the table was eavesdropping in on our conversation. And she spoke up, and she was from Kharkiv, which is the eastern part of Ukraine. And she was an English teacher in a university there, and she was there with her mother, also leaving, and she left her husband behind. And she said, you know what, me too. She says, as soon as this is done, the very next day, we are all going back to Ukraine, and we are going to rebuild. And I sat at the table with these 2 beautiful women, sharing how important their country is to them. and that they cannot wait to go back and to rebuild. And so many people ask, how can we help? What can we do? And we're doing what we can, a lot of charities. But I also believe that the day is coming when we will rebuild. And maybe some people will need to go and they'll need to dig bricks, rebuild houses, and help with our hands. And when that time comes, we will do that as well. But for now, we pray, we support, we listen, and we give. And I want to thank you very much for coming here this afternoon and listening to the people share their stories. My wife and I we had vacation booked in June. We're going back again for 3 weeks to help again the end of May and beginning of June, and we're looking forward to it very much. And I want to thank everyone here and for the organizers for this as well. You did a very fantastic job. So.
All I ask in you is help Ukrainian army, help Ukraine. It is not only war against Russian aggression, it's a war against pure evil. All you have seen all this horror and all the crimes Russians are creating in Mariupol, Kharkiv, Akhtirka, Bucha, and many others Ukrainian cities, towns and villages. It's not just a war anymore. It's not a war, it's just genocide against Ukrainians, when I said Ukrainians, I mean all people, all nationalities living in Ukraine, and people who feel yourself as Ukrainians throughout the world. And the urgent needs right now in Ukraine, it's basically for Ukrainian army. It's drones, it's thermal and night vision scopes, weapons, sights, binoculars, portable radio. Also they need military equipment such as helmets, bulletproof vests, class 4 and higher, and military tactical ammunition. If anybody able to get it and send, there is like company in Canada called Mist, and they will send everything for free in Ukraine. And there is a people in Poland and Germany and UK, they can deliver it directly to Ukrainian army. And also the urgent need, it's a military tactical medical kits, hemostatic tourniquets, hemostatic patches, and anti-burns kits. All this stuff is very hard to find in Europe right now because all this stuff was sold out and people bought everything and sent to Ukraine, so it's very urgent, and if somebody have a chance to find it, they can send directly to Ukraine. And about donations, the most important stuff, and it's very important that all donations reach directly to the army and volunteers who supply help for the army units at the battlefront. So if you wish to send any donations, there is a special account opened by National Bank of Ukraine, and you can send it directly to help army or to help civilians. Also, there is like well-known foundations like Come Back Alive and Serhiy Pritula Foundation, which supplies directly to the units at the front line. And those foundations well known since 2014, because our war starts in 2014, not in February. It starts 2014 when Russia started a war against Ukraine. What else you can do? You can write letters to your member of parliament, to government, provincial government, government of Canada. Let them follow the example of Great Britain, the example of Poland, example of Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia. Those countries help Ukraine every day. And let them know that all these Russian diplomats, all these Russian propagandists still working in Canada and US, they still create lots of fakes, lots of fake news. They demolished all Ukrainian history. They destroy everything people know about Ukraine. And if you know something, if you know somebody who following this fake news, try to explain them, try to tell them the truth. And at the end of my speech, I asking you to remember all those brave sons and daughters of Ukraine who died in battle with Russians. And remember those civilians, kids, men and women who was killed by Russian bombs, who was tortured and killed. All these kids you've seen on TV. And just remember, it's not just a war against Ukraine. Because if you hear all these speeches Russian says on Russian TV, on European TV like Russia Today, and all this TVs still on in Canada, they don't want to stop at Ukraine. And nobody knows who will be next if Ukraine fall, but I know that Ukraine won't fall because all people in the world, all people who using a brain, who using those own stuff and who can analyze and who know history, who know what's Russian did all their history, and all they doing is just destruction and destroying. They don't want to live better. They want everybody else around live same as they are. So just remember that Ukraine fight not only for Ukraine, they fight for all democratic world. And yeah, please remember all these guys who fall on the fields. My cousin, 9 days ago, he fell in a field in the Battle of Chernigov. So please remember all those guys who fight for all of you. Thank you.